Hi everybody, my name is Peter and these are my mods on my current 2021 Honda Civic Hatchback Sport after owning it for 1 year. So starting with the setup, as you can see, it looks a lot different from stock, at least from the front. And what you may notice is that over here, I swapped it for some aftermarket LEDs. Now I got these from Amazon for around $430. And these are the LEDs, which are a big upgrade from the stock halogen bulbs. Now what they do is obviously, besides the more aggressive look, is that they provide brighter lights during the day and especially during the night. That's when it truly shines. I've had these on installed for probably around 6 months now, and I can say it's a night and day difference when I'm driving at night. When I turn on my LED lights, they're so much brighter. And here's an example. So if I turn on the car, it starts up orange and then it turns blue. And if you give it around like 5 more seconds, and eventually fades to a white. Now these are just my daytime running lights, but they look so much better than stock. Now these are my lights, how they look like when they're turned on. As you can see, very bright, especially like on the pavement, it completely lights up. Even like during like sunset, it's still pretty bright. Now this is how the car looks with its headlights fully turned on. As you can see, the entire strip is just turned on, and this is just makes a huge difference, especially when driving at night or just in darker areas. I completely recommend these LED bulbs. I mean, it costs around $430, like I said, but they make the car look so much more aggressive and so much more functional during the night. Now, next up on the mod list is the Honda Civic Type R badge, which is right over here. Now, what this does, obviously, is purely for cosmetics, but stock, it was just a old chrome outlining, and I just didn't like it, the way they look, and so I prefer the Type R badge over the stock one, especially since my car is red. I think it just really adds to the atmosphere. Now lastly, for front cosmetics, we have a splitter that I ordered from, I think it was PLM. I totally forgot who I ordered it from, but I bought it for around $110 and had a friend help me install it. And what I like about it is it provides the front bumper a little bit of protection, especially during any scrapes you might encounter, but it obviously makes the car look just a little bit wider on the sides. And then especially it gives it like that little outlining around the car and just makes it look a lot tighter, a lot more aggressive. And even though I haven't actually lowered the car, it makes it look a lot more, it just makes it look stanced. Now obviously, with all three of these mods combined, I think it makes the front of the car look so much better. Having the LEDs just make it look more aggressive. The Type R badge just matches the car, especially its color. Not to mention, having with a 2020 and up, they had these more aggressive little flares that they added on the fronts instead of the old fake vents. I think that was a good move. Obviously, love it or hate it, I completely love the way the car looks with them. And now lastly, with the front splitter, this obviously ties it all really well. Now, as for the wheels and tires, completely stock. So with 2021 Honda Civics hatchback sports, they do come with a 235 40R Continentals, and as for the wheels, a complete OEM as well as the brakes. And as you can see, I did not lower the car yet. I'm thinking about potentially I might go with Ibach or some kind of other aftermarket lowering springs, but so far I like the ride height. It's perfect for my area since there are a bunch of low speed bumps, so I think the stock height is pretty good. Moving on toward the back, I bought these for around $30 on Amazon. But basically what they do is get adhesive tape and you tape it on there. Honestly, it's just a little bit of something that makes it a little bit more aggressive. Not everybody might like it, but personally I like the way it looks. It's just a little bit subtle, but it just adds to the atmosphere. Again, stock ride height. And with the hatchback sports, we also get this little spoiler, I believe, on top. And I got this Type R spoiler off of eBay for around $150. I put it together myself and then took it to a shop to get it installed. Now, this is where like I think it was a little bit expensive. I mean, I had to pay personally around $300 to get it installed from a shop down in Long Beach, but honestly, it was like one of my first cosmetic mods in the car, and I really loved the way it looked. Obviously, not everybody may like it, but I love the way the Type R looks, and I love the way the spoiler adds to the car. Now, moving on down, we have the 2020 and 2021. We have the little flares instead of the old fake vents. And the aggressive rear diffuser, which is stock, as well as the dual exhaust right in the middle. But yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna do one more full walk around the car. I mean, after all, I just did get it washed like about 30 minutes ago, but my goodness, I love the way it looks. So in the fronts right now, I have a 50% windshield tint, and I do have some shades inside, so obviously you're not able to see in. But what I do like about the 50% windshield tint is that it just makes the car look a little bit less showy, less like a fishbowl, but it's not like so dark to the point where it's like 35%, where it's clearly like everybody knows you tinted, and that's where you might get trouble with the cops. But with 50%, you're gonna get no trouble with the cops, at least in my area in California. It's really nice. And obviously this isn't a very good accurate representation since I'm not in direct sunlight, especially since it's sunset, and like I do have shades, but these are 17.5%. Originally I had 35% on the on the front sides, but I also got a 50% layered on top of that, which is a 17.5. But when it's dark at night and when I do have shades, it's literally like impossible to see in, which honestly makes them look like 5%. Now in the back I have 5%. These during the day are like completely like pretty much like hardly able to see through, especially when the sunlight goes through. It's like practically impossible to see through. Even at night, especially at night, you're like all you're seeing is just pure black, which I love. Now again, not everybody may like the completely dark tint, but I love the way it looks. Same for the back, completely unseeable. Now you may see a little bit of light when I take away the shades and it's in direct sunlight, but other than that, I love the way it looks. Now as for the inside of the car, let me go turn that off. Let me take out the shades. It's so annoying. But so this is how my interior looks like. So I know the EX models, you do get dual climate control and all those little bit nicer features and like seat warmers. I'm not sure if you do get seat warmers, but I believe you guys do. But with the Sport, what we do have specifically is the aluminum pedals, which is make it feel nicer when you're just braking or accelerating. And as you can clearly see here, I believe starting with the LX models of the trim of the car, we do have light up buttons. So when driving at night, it makes it so much easier just to like see what it is, traction control, like lane mitigation and whatever, left to right for adjusting my mirrors. Oh, also this is my tint, like I told you guys. So this is with the 17.5%, and this is just how it looks like without it. Now it's a pretty big difference, but driving at night, honestly, I don't have any problems at all. I mean, it's a little bit brighter than 15%, and it's like honestly not that big a huge deal. I mean, you kind of get used to it after just a couple of days, I feel like. And as you can see in all my 4 seats, even in the back, though it's a little bit hard to see, I did install some LEDs, which I got for $17 on Amazon. Honestly, they're not for everybody, but I do like them, especially like the way it lights up and just adds like a cool atmosphere to your car, makes it more special. And especially when it's like dark at night, it just like looks really good to have. Now, with my flash on, you can see that I did add my Honda Civic Type R red badge onto the steering wheel. It's just a little bit of a cosmetic, but I just like the way it looked. And as you can tell with the car, I did add a lot of red stripes. So starting with next to my AC, I added it right here on the passenger side. Now, I got all these red stripes on Amazon for about $100 and installed it myself with strong adhesive tape. It probably just took around an hour to install everything. It's very simple. You added it, you know. Also, it's fake carbon fiber that comes with it. You don't have to install it, but I mean, I just like the way it looked over stock, and although it's not real, I just like the way it looked. Lastly, I do have a dash cam that I ordered from Amazon for around $100. Now, this one specifically just records only for the front, tells you miles per hour, you know, resolution, and tells you your vehicle speed. So it comes really in handy whenever there's an accident or whatever. So you can always just make sure you have the footage and use it in court or whatever. And over here, I do have a radar detector, and they are completely legal in the state of California as long as it's mounted onto the dashboard. And lastly, for not for cosmetic mods, but lastly for mods that I have inside that is visible inside my car, I do have a K-Tuner version 2. So over here, I have my RPMs being read, battery voltage, my gear. Although I do have a automatic, which is a CVT transmission, it does tell me what simulated gear I'm in, especially when I use my paddle shifters for downshifting and for upshifting. And lastly, I have TPS. It tells me my vehicle speed in real time, because the Honda Civics have a it tells our speedometer is a couple seconds off, or a milliseconds off. Lastly, PSI, so it tells me how much pounds of boost I'm doing in my turbo, and my engine temperature, I believe, ECT. Now, under the hood of my car, I do have some mods. So starting off with a PRL cold air race intake for the 1.5 turbo non-SI. So basically that big whoosh sound you probably heard over the last couple clips I provided was that. And now the end of the filters face all the way toward the ground. That's where you're able to get cooler air, which brings in more horsepower for the car. So I have the 4 cylinders, the 1.5 liter turbo. Next, I have a strut bar, which pretty much enhances a little bit of handling when I'm going around turns. Now, have I actually felt any difference when I've been driving day-to-day situations? Honestly, no, but if you go canyon driving, you do experience just a little bit of stability, especially when you just drive more aggressively. Lastly, I do have it all completely tuned on K-Tuner, and I'm running a variable 1.5 race tune. So on stock 91 octane, which this car makes around 226 wheel horsepower and around 275 torque. Now, because I do have a CVT model, that number would probably translate lower to probably around 240 torque. Now, plus the intake, which is on PRL website, it advertises to bring around 20 horsepower more with a tune. So combine 226 and around a 20 horsepower increase. Obviously, it doesn't completely add up. It's not directly 246 horsepower, but I'm gonna say it's safely around 230 horsepower. So around 25 more horsepower than a stock Civic SI. But against my car completely stock, it makes around 45 to 50 horsepower more. Now, this car makes a huge difference over stock. 0 to 60, I've had around 7.8 to 8 seconds before I tuned it. Now, after a tune on 91 octane with a variable, as well as a colder intake, I've been able to bring that down to around 5.9 or just around 6 seconds flat on front wheel drive. Again, so I was tuned through K-Tuner, which is this little device right over here, and it lights up through each RPM that I increase. So I've programmed this myself on my own laptop, but basically right now those numbers that are fluctuating around 700s to 800s are my current RPM, and if I rev a little bit more, you can see it slowly climb. And over there, my PSI, vehicle speed, and whatnot. But totally recommend this. Again, it's a bit expensive. I paid around $650 and paid around another $150 for the tune. But I completely love the car now. I mean, it makes a huge difference over stock, especially with 91 octane in my area. And if you guys have 93 octane, even better. You'll get more power. But yeah, totally suggest it. Totally woke up the car, makes it so much faster, sounds a lot better now, especially with a cold air intake. And for my exhaust, which I did on another video, I straight piped it. It means I got a muffler and a resonator delete. It just makes the car sound a lot better in my opinion, not like a Farcan. Sounds a lot deeper and just very minimal drone. So I highly recommend it for you guys who have the 1.5 liter turbo. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and this is Peter signing out.